Kia ora. Today I'm going to be working with the Stitch Star Grid cut file by Confessions of a Paper Addict, and I'll link the store below and where you can find this cut file from. So what I've actually done is I've taken the cut file, I've put in this star patterned paper, and I have just cut out the stitch stars. So this cut file also makes it possible for you to cut out the inside of these stars so you can have stitching around the edge. However, for this layout I chose to just do the stitches, stitch holes, and I have used French knots all the way around the stars in 3 different colours that you can see there. And I'm going to be scrapbooking a photo or a series of photos that I took of the recent lunar eclipse and supermoon, as well as the blood moon. And so I've sort of gone for that galaxy kind of space kind of look. And what I've just done now on this pattern paper is add some splatters of both acrylic gloss sprays, and you can't really see these splatters going on there, but they are a nice gold shimmer brush, and as well as some nighttime gloss acrylic spray, but I've just used the end of where it normally takes it up for a spray and just dabbed that on the page to drop it off. And I'm just deciding here whether I'm going to put a border around the pattern paper with some white cardstock, and I decide I do want to do this. So I'm just trimming off reasonably close to where I have done the stitching, but not so close that I'm going to undo any stitching. And while they're uneven bits coming off, they do work out nice and even once I put them onto the white cardstock, as you can see. But I decide I don't want a straight white border around the edge there, and so I'm actually going to I'm going to put some splatters on that background paper, on the background cardstock. But before I do that, I'm just going to distress the edges of what I'm going to mat these photos with. So I think it was in Picture Grid or something, I can link that below too, I pulled in the photos that I was taking on my DSLR, and I imported them to my camera through the Wi-Fi feature, which is very handy, so I was able to do it all on the night. And then I put them into a grid, sort of in order that you would read from left to right and then top to bottom. And so that's the grid that I've got there that you can see, and you can't quite see the bottom 4, but there is a really pink glow to those, which was that blood moon effect coming out. And you saw how messy the back of my stitching was, but that's okay because you don't see that bit in the end. So I am now going to add those splatters onto the paper. I haven't got my multi-purpose mat down, which is very naughty of me, and normally I would do that splatter with the gold on that mat. However, this time I was just too lazy to go and get it, because when I'm putting these together, I'm at the family room table so that there's a better lighting and I can set the tripod up to show you what I'm doing, and the rest of my stuff's all kept in another little room. So I just here have grabbed some of the Stickles or Ranger glitter gel in this little pot here, and I've just used my finger to dab it on the inside of each of these stars. And I am going to stick down the photo with the foam tape that I've used there, and I think I've already done that off camera, just to speed things up a bit for you. So now I'm going to add in some lettering, and I found some gold thickers that I'm going to use here. I don't trust adhesive on most self-adhesive products like these letters, so I am adding a little bit of Tombow to the back of each one. So now I've done that lettering, and I'm going to work now on some other embellishments, and I've fussy cut out some of the stars from this paper. That's also the same paper as backing the very back of the photo matte layer kind of thing. And so on each of the wee stars, I'm just using some of these little foam dots, which super simple for adding the foam to. They're nice size, and I've used the smaller of the 2 for this. So I'm just going to arrange these on the page, and so I've put them across, sort of going from left to right in a line to carry your eye across. And I'm just using a clear shimmer brush here to go over each of them, just to add a little bit of that space sparkle, which fits with what I am scrapbooking. So I'm going to add my journaling down here in a bit of a gap. Before I decided that this is where I would do the journaling, I had wondered about using a picture my life card or a sticker or something, but I just decided I didn't want the journaling to take over, but I wanted it to be there. So that's why I've sort of chosen to do it in black, so it almost disappears into the background, but not quite, but it's there because I always like to have the story or some basic information about the photograph and what I'm actually putting together to document. And so I have done that, and now I've got some of these wooden stars that I think about bringing in just to tie in with the beautiful cut file background, connecting with it and tying it all together if possible. When I was getting towards the end of these photos, so it was at about 11:15 one evening here, you could start to see the stars coming out, and it was quite stunning despite being absolutely freezing. When I was sitting out there for a little bit longer than just shooting out to take the photo, I had to have a hot drink. I had gloves on and hats, and even had a blanket out there to wrap up in. It's very cold in New Zealand at this time, and especially where I live, surrounded by mountains, and there may have even been some fresh snow up there or about to come on the way. So I'm just adding some gold glitter dots on here to kind of finish up the page a bit, and just having a quick look at some of that texture. And I am wondered about adding some of the Stickles glitter, but I decided not to. So that's the Stars Stitched Grid cut file from Confessions of a Paper Addict.